everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity, and got another fun interview for you. If you remember a couple years ago, I chatted with blues great Neal, and we just hit it off and had so much fun. I keep threatening to come out to his place. He's got a great little restaurant and music venue in Baton Rouge called Nealsville, I believe he said. You'll hear it in the interview in case I got it wrong. And we just hit it off. I haven't been able to make it out there to enjoy some of that Cajun cooking, but I promise you I'm going to make it out there before too long. But we caught up on news with that venture, but the big news was talking about the single Devils in the Delta that he recorded with his son, Micah Willis. Micah is a R&B artist in his own right, based out of Salt Lake City. He's got some great music in that genre. If you're a new R&B fan, you're going to love his work, and I encourage you to look it up and check it out. But Kenny and I caught up on things. We haven't talked in a couple of years, and we just picked up where we left off, had a good old time talking about him working with Micah and the memories it brought back of him working with his dad in the blues business. Had a lot of fun talking about the gospel influence on the music, all that kind of stuff. So you're really going to want to listen to this interview, especially if you're a big blues fan like I am. And as always, I ask that while you're listening, hit like and hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Won't cost you a thing, but it helps us out tremendously. So without any further ado, here is my second interview of what I hope are many more to come with blues great Neal. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Okay.
There you have it. Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you, man. How you doing, man?
Doing good. It's been about 2 years since we last spoke. How you been?
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time you and I talked, you were in the you had a lot of commotion going on. You were setting up your restaurant and music venue thing there, and it looked like it was going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it is fun. It's going, and my sisters. Hold up, I'm just getting some stuff. My sisters are running the place, and people are coming by every day, so it's happening.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What has been your biggest surprise about running the business there with and your sisters handling it? Has there been anything fun that you didn't anticipate?
Well, I didn't think we was gonna grow that fast. I didn't think it was gonna take off and boom and blossom that fast. I thought it was gonna take a while. But man, with that social media and getting on Facebook and all that other stuff, what they do, it just brought everybody in.
Yep.
Now, 11 o'clock during the day, it's busy until 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a
My
good
goodness. Yeah,
thing.
yeah. What's your
And
biggest seller there food-wise?
well, down here we love food. So they
Mhm.
know how to prepare. So one day they might have smothered turkey wings and rice. They might have,
Oh,
uh, you know, um, they might have smothered chicken and just that old Cajun Creole stuff, jambalaya, you know,
oh man.
mustard greens, collard greens, string
Ooh,
beans, cornbread, just the real old school stuff.
yeah. You know
And
what? I think I'm going to keep this on the video because I want to point people your way. Where can they find you down there?
if they come to Baton Rouge, just look for Nealville. It's a whole
Okay.
little compound we got in there. We got a big stage set up now. We got places for people to sit around and watch the music and eat and bring their lawn chairs. And it's not that. I mean, we hold about 250 to 300 people.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah. And
Nice.
we get out there and we have blues music out there on the weekends, and it's just it was a perfect thing to go into.
Hmm. Well, very
Um,
cool.
and the people love it and they feel like they're in the country, even though I'm in the city. It look real country, you know.
Have you had some of your friends come through as far as in the music business and playing just as
Oh,
a
many
kind of a
times.
pickup band?
I have Southern Soul groups come through. I have the Zydeco guys from Lafayette come over and play. And so many folks know me, so when they come through town, they come and pay a visit. The
Yeah,
doors are
yep.
open. But
Very cool.
and my recording studio is there, so I'm in the studio most of the time turning out music.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is right in one little compound.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. That makes
Yeah.
it fun and easy for you.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and you don't have to worry about, breaking for lunch or anything. It's right
Oh
there
no,
for you, right?
that's right. And the house part where my studio was the first house I ever owned. Being a blues artist, I never thought I'd be owning a house back then. But
Yeah.
I kept it all these years, even though I left home, went to California. I held on to it and rented it out, and it's got like maybe an acre and a half in the back with two,
Nice.
three more places back there. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided just to turn it into a little entertainment and soul food restaurant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't since you and I talked, I say this a lot in all my interviews, and I don't mean to make it about me, but since you and I last talked, my dad has he's afflicted with Alzheimer's, so I live
Oh,
next door to him, and I'm his caregiver. And if he might interrupt, he might holler down or something. So I
well, that's okay,
apologize in
man.
advance if that happens.
We
But
got to we got to look after the elderly now, They took care of
that's
us,
right.
brought us where we at. Now it's our turn. I do
That's
the same
exactly
thing,
right.
same thing with my mom, man. I,
Really.
I I make her doctor's appointments and look at her medical charts and make sure she's okay.
Yep. That's what
But
we have to do, man.
yeah,
Like
but
you
I
said.
was the other night I was laying in bed and I was clicking. I don't never hardly get on Facebook, but I was clicking through, and there my mom was in center of the circle dancing with all the young kids. She 84 years old, and
All
she
right.
she was the spotlight.
That
I
must be
told her,
where
I
you
said,
get it from. You and your dad both. I mean, her and your dad both, man. They
"Oh
both
man,
knew how to do it, huh?
they was circling around her, and she was in the middle jamming down." And I told her, I said, "Okay," I said, "I was in bed last night. Where were you?" She said, "Oh, well, I went to see the kids." I said, "Yeah, you was in the middle of the floor. You took over." Yeah, but
So she's how old now? 83?
84, 84.
84. Okay.
And man, look, the whole city just loves her dearly. Everybody around this town called my mother mommy. That's their mama too. So I have to
All
share her with
right.
the whole city.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
we love it.
Yeah.
We love every minute of it.
My dad, he'll turn 89 in June. So,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
but
man.
what I started off saying though was I was hoping to, after you and I talked last time, I was wanting to make it out that way and drop in on your place, maybe catch it while some music was going on or something. I still plan to do it. It just may
Man, the
not
door is
be
still open,
soon.
brother.
All
Still open,
right, that's
man.
very cool.
Come
Very
on
cool.
down. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's talk about this joint effort with you and Micah. He may drop in a little bit later, but that's okay. Tell me the story behind this. I love the song. I just,
Well,
I didn't expect anything less from you.
yeah,
So,
he was working with the company Verdict Records, who I'm going to be working with, and it just so happened these folks are great. Vivian and Steven, they run Verdict and they distribute through Sony Archer, so
oh,
that's all good. And Michael called me up because they gave him a song that they thought was really Delta bluesy, and say, "Hey man, you think your dad might be interested in doing this song with you?" And he called me up. Of course, I'm not going to say no to my son.
no.
So I said, let's go for it. You want to do a blues tune? So they sent it to me. I went into the studio and played and got my little brothers on board my band, and
Hmm.
I did the tracks, and then we brought him in and let him sing on it, and it turned out real nice, man. I really liked the song "Devils in the Delta." And it was a good experience for him to come to my side of the fence because he do like, the modern pop music and
Yeah.
that I don't know much
He's
about.
very good at it too. I checked out some of his stuff
Yeah,
and I mean,
yeah,
I'm not that familiar with it. Probably
yeah,
just like you're not.
yeah.
We have our thing, right?
That's right.
But it sounded. I mean, to my limited ear for that genre, it sounds like he's right in the groove on all that.
Yeah, and he's a great artist, great musician as well. He played trumpet. I remember when he was a kid, he played the violin, but then all of a sudden he got interested in it. But yes, and then we did this song together, and by him being brought up in Salt Lake City, and I grew up here all my life down in Louisiana, and I left here in '76 with Buddy Guy to play bass in his band, and moved to Canada, but my roots is here, and so
Hmm.
I had a chance to film the video down here in Louisiana, and I had a chance to take him around to all the churches that I went to when I was a kid, churches that his great 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 grandmother went to. It
Wow,
was built in the 1700s, and
man.
this they still have services there in that church.
Wow.
So I took him all around and schooled him on where you came from. I say, look, you're not gonna know where to go if you don't know where you came from.
That's right.
Yeah,
What kind of churches were they?
Baptist man.
All right.
Baptist church house, but I don't know. I'm one of the weirdos down here. I was Christian Baptist and I mean Christian Catholic, and I was baptized Baptist. So I
Well,
ought to get.
you and I are similar. I grew up in a small Pentecostal denomination, and then I wound up kind of leaning Baptist. Graduated from a Baptist university, the whole nine yards. So
Yeah, man.
you and I can share some stories, I bet.
We ought to get through the pearly gates anyway.
We won't lose it on the technicality, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's right, man. Well, because my we call it Pyrain. My godfather was my Pyrain was Catholic, and my nene, which is my aunt godmother, she was Baptist, so they had a tug of war. Well,
Ooh,
he need to come to the Catholic church too, so they did both churches in the same day. So,
wow.
and then I grew up going to Catholic um, sermons in school, and then
Mhm.
Sundays I had to go to Baptist church. So I had both. And my grandfather was a Baptist preacher in New Orleans for over 40 some years.
Wow.
I don't know how we end up coming singing the blues, but I guess
It
my,
just
my
had to happen.
grandfather had the right hand up for the Lord. My dad had the other one up for the devil, because they used to say it was devil music back then.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I won't argue with our dads, but boy, we
Yeah,
sure love it, whatever it is, right?
yeah,
So
that's right. That's right, man. So he came out singing the blues and passed it on to us. But
very cool.
yeah, but the roots of it came out the Baptist church.
Now, the label that this is on, they're not typically a blues label, are they?
Not as of when they got ready for me to join. I think I've convinced them that I'm going to have a branch off of that label, and I'll be putting
Nice.
out music through my company and and them together. So a lot of Louisiana stuff going to start popping up on Verdict and Booger Music, which is my company.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, working with Micah, were there things, and I'll allow you to speak for him too. Did you guys learn something from each other as you worked on this song?
Well, I learned that um, he's really determined and really truly believe in what he's doing, and he liked to be precise about it, and I was happy to see that, because I go, man, that must be some of my DNA, because we want it to be right, and I was glad to see that, because he'd take interest. He'll wake up the next morning and say, I think we ought to change this, or we ought to do this,
Hmm.
and we sat
Hmm.
down and agreed. But just seeing the way he worked and how determined he is, I was very proud of that.
Did you learn anything from him?
I learned that he didn't know much about the Delta.
Well, did you
I,
change
I,
all of that?
I go, yeah, man. I go, man, we can't do a video and not put an alligator in it. Some crawfish, or alligator or something. But we got some experience because they came down with a storyboard already laid out. So, I pick up two young kids, the camera guy and Michael, to come down here in Louisiana to film a Devils in the Delta video. And I was going, man, I wonder what they got in mind. And so I sat back and wouldn't say anything. And then I start showing them different things, and then it started to come together,
Oh,
say, look,
cool.
we need to go out here, on the river road, get some footages of some of these 200-year-old plantation homes, and
Yeah.
throw all that stuff in. So that was my idea in teaching them about the Deep South.
Hmm. Did Micah say anything to you that, aside from the Delta, did he learn anything from you as far as recording, maybe some roots into the blues that he hadn't realized before, anything like that?
No, not really, because he already know the deep roots in the family and my dad and all that. He was already because we always been together, so he
Hmm.
was already there. As far as I think when I did the album, I mean not the album, but the single, I think it amazes him when I got to amazed him when I got to tracking, because I did it so fast and so easy and made it look so simple, and started that morning, and by the end of the evening, I was finished with the tracks, uh, or maybe less, because I knew what to do, and I knew what instrument to play on top of everything. So I'm
Right.
pretty well doing the slide, the harmonica, the rhythm guitar, all of the grooves and stuff. So I
Hmm.
laid that down myself, and which was a piece of cake for me. So I think he was a bit surprised that, damn, he just went in there and knocked that out in a couple of hours, man. How you do it?
Yes, like the old man knows something there,
That's
right?
right. Yeah. After
You
doing it
woke up.
after 40, 50 years.
You
You
might
should
know a
have.
thing or two, huh?
That's right. Little something.
Yep. You and I are around the same age. It's amazing what our kids and that generation, what they think we don't know, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm
We-
always 2 steps ahead.
you got to be.
That's right. That's right.
So when working on this, did it bring back any memories of when you would work with your dad? I know you're on
Get it
stage with
ever,
him a
man.
lot and that type of
I
thing.
I see why my dad was so proud when we got together. My dad always encouraged us, but he would never tell you was real good. Now, you won't get that out of him. I'll be playing my butt off, man, and go, "Hey, pops, how I do?" He said, "Oh, son, it was okay. You did all right. You know, just work a little bit more on it." He
Yeah.
wouldn't never say, "Oh man, you great. You knocked it out the park." He
Once you
didn't want
keep,
his head to get that big. You know what I mean? So
it's funny how our parents did that crap on us. My
yeah,
parents were the
man.
same way, you know.
I was like trying to do my best, boy. He wouldn't just give me that A. I couldn't get that whole A. I might get a A minus.
I
But
saw and got to meet with and interview Greg Guy last year, and
oh yeah.
got to see him and his dad perform over near here in Cherokee, North Carolina. And
Uh-huh.
I think there was a lot of the same kind of thing going on there. But boy, what those two played well together. That was fun to
Yeah.
watch.
And Greg came up later and decided
Hmm.
he wanted to play. Man, I was with my dad. My dad and I always say that I think about Andy Griffin and Opie, going fishing, but we was going bluesing.
Bluesing.
Yeah, we going bluesing. We wasn't going fishing. But uh, when I turned 6, 7 years old, I was already gigging with my dad at matinees on Saturdays and Sundays. And
Wow.
he put me on the bar. We didn't have a stage. He put me on a little bar in the juke joint, and man, I'll do the James Brown and sing all the old blues songs that I knew. And
Hmm.
when it was over with, I'll go around to all the tables, and I'll come back with 2 pocketfuls of money. And I go, man, this is what I want to do. And so when I was working with Michael, I was feeling my dad' presence.
Mm.
and thinking about when I was a kid coming up with him, and it was just so joyful to have him there and passing that torch on, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you telling that story about going table to table to collect the tips, that, you know, I think musicians today, they think that's a terrible thing, because you go down to downtown Nashville and go down Broadway there and go into the different places where the music is. You know,
Yeah.
the musicians there have to do the same thing. They don't get paid unless you know, the crowd tips them and such, and they don't realize there's a deep root into that
Hey
whole
man,
concept.
I used to make more money than my dad and his band members.
Well, I'm sure that got you in a little bit of
Yeah,
trouble, didn't it?
by me being a little kid, you know, and being good at what I'm doing, you know, they back then, you know, $2 was a lot, man. You
Yeah.
know, and they wouldn't give me $1, they would give me $2.
That's because
So
you're so darn cute back then
yeah,
on that,
yeah, man, look, I'll have them pockets stacked up, boy. Look at that. I go, Pops, are we going out next weekend?
huh?
Yeah,
when
man.
when you were working on this single, were there, I mean, you've worked on a lot of music, so I'm sure it's hard to surprise you, but were there any surprises on this as you and Michael were working on this?
Well, only surprise I got was that he fell in position so comfortable. He didn't even have to think about, oh, this is a blues tune. I got to be grouchy and ground voice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I sung the song myself. He listened, came back, and nailed it. You know, so
Uh-huh.
that was a surprise for me. We didn't have to work on it or take a bunch of takes or nothing like that. He just went in and did it naturally. And I think he was feeding off the foundation that I laid, you know.
He would have had to have. I mean, if it's in
Yeah,
his blood already, it
yeah.
didn't take much to light it up, I'm sure.
Because when you hear his phrasing and stuff like that, I can tell where it came from. I
Yeah,
didn't tell
yeah.
him that. I did.
What feedback are you getting from everybody who's heard the song so far?
So far, so good. I've been getting a lot of good feedbacks from them, and they want to know when the album going to come out, but I'm not sure if an album going to make it. Well, this cut will make it on my next album, but I'm not sure if we're going to do an album together, a full album.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice too, but you know, I got to give him his space because he's busy
Right.
and I'm out there starting back to touring again this year. So I'll be back
Mm-hmm.
on the road. I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it, but I I'll be back out there doing it. Not like I used to, you know. I won't be welling out 200 dates a year, but go out and do the festivals, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So when you mentioned the album, I got to ask, when is your album coming out then?
I plan to release it in August.
Okay. Well, I sure hope you and I get to be sitting here just like we are now to talk about it.
I have a new cut coming out, which is the old song that I did. It's called Let Life Flow.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded it in 2005 or something like that, 2006, somewhere back then. But I've
Mm-hmm.
revived it. I have a young lady by the name of Kiana Linnell. She's singing with me on it. She just finished a tour with the Lincoln Center Jazz Band for 2 months. And
Wow.
she's a great jazz and blues and gospel singer. And I got Lee Oscar from War on harmonica with me, and he and I produced it together. So that's going to be out May the 2nd, and
All
then
right.
yeah, come out next month, and then I'll follow up with the album.
Well, good. Well, that's maybe around July or so. Let's circle back and talk
Well,
about that album and get
would
into the
love
nuts and
to.
bolts of it. You know, if I can get an advanced listen to it so I can sound halfway intelligent about it, then that would help me out there. So
We'll have
so
Mark send you a notice, send you
yeah,
something.
yeah.
All
I
right.
love working with Mark. He's a
Yeah, man,
great
I've been
man to
knowing
work
Mark
for.
about 40 years.
Wow. Yeah, so you think this relationship with him might work out? So
Man, yeah, we was like, man, we can't believe it's been that many years. because he worked on my first album.
Really?
When I first
Wow.
started my career, he was there,
My
you know.
goodness. I don't
So
live all that far from him. I'm up here in East Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, and he's down in where, Macon or Atlanta or somewhere down there, right?
yeah, he's in
Yeah,
I don't know exactly where. Yeah.
yeah. I just one of these days when I can have a whole day to go, you have some windshield time. I just need to arrange to go down and say hi and maybe have lunch with him or something.
Yeah.
He and I work very well together, and I think the world of him. You got a good man behind you on that.
Yeah, yeah. I really
So,
enjoy working with him. Yeah.
so, so you're going to be touring some. I looked at some of your itinerary. I was heartbroken to see that nowhere near me. So you're going to
Well,
be
we got
all
to
over
do
Florida and all over Louisiana, but someday you need to get over here to East Tennessee.
because it's been too long. It's been
That's
too long
right.
for me to get back over there. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to
And
put
we
some
need to
fire
meet
into
face
my
to face anyway.
yeah, and put some fire into my guys over at the office, Intrepid Artists over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got anything else you're working on? Are you helping anybody else with their albums or anything like
Man,
that?
I got a gospel group called um, Terrell Griffin and the Vocaliers. They're like
Hmm.
so special because they still got that roots of the Alabama brothers, the blind boys of Alabama and
Mm-hmm.
that pop staples, maple staples kind of gospel
Mm-hmm.
feel that you
That's
don't
the
see
stuff I
much.
grew up on.
Yeah, man, and I want to preserve it. And I found these guys. Matter of fact, his dad and my dad was close friends when they was young kids and growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like family to me. But man, when I heard him play, and it's like that old foot stomping music,
Yeah.
gospel. You don't hear
Mm-hmm.
much anymore. So
Yep.
I produced the album on them, and it'll be out on Verdict as well.
Very cool. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. Like I said, I grew up on that kind of stuff, and
Oh yeah.
even when we got out, I moved as a kid to Arizona, and it kind of followed us there. It was already there actually, but boy, to hear just good old time God, I think a lot of the world doesn't realize how much. I mean, look at what it did with Elvis, right? So
Exactly.
gospel music affected blues and rock and country, and people
Um,
just don't realize it.
I go and sing with these guys sometime when they're in the church, and I go out there and have a good time, and it's no different from me being on stage doing what I do. I
Hmm.
just, get out there and man, you can tell this is the roots of it.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
roots of it. When
that's
you when
right.
you hear Hank Williams and all them guys, man, it ain't nothing but that old time blues gospel stuff. You
That's
know,
right.
that's
That's
what it is.
exactly right. That boy, and to hear that compared to, I don't want to get into dangerous territory here, but there's just a lot of stuff that's out today that I just, I think it's mislabeled. I'll put it
Yeah,
diplomatically.
yeah,
And I'm thinking, wow, these people really need to listen to where
yeah.
everything started,
Go
you know,
back, go back to the roots of it and understand. And
and
then
make it something that's unifying. I interviewed Curtis Williams from Kool and the Gang yesterday, and we were talking, and I mentioned that I just watched the Chuck Berry documentary that his estate put out. And I was struck, Kenny, by how back in the 50s, even though there was segregation and all that thing taking place, when it came to music,
forgot about
everybody
all of
was
that, brother.
together. It
That's
was
right.
all just, what race, man? We're all having fun
No,
with this great music. And
that's
it
the way
needs to get back to that.
I was like that with my dad, man. We'll play all these honky tonk clubs, and man, they love us to death. I mean, place packed and everybody having a good time and dancing, and
Hmm.
my dad would do these old songs like you go back Tennessee Waltz and all that stuff like that.
Hmm.
He would call these songs out. I had to play that stuff because my dad knew it.
You
But
knew it inside and out, too, I
yeah,
bet, huh?
yeah. So,
So,
man, we had a great time. I had a great time growing up, and everybody just joined together and have a good time. And that was
yeah.
way back in the days.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's what I try to get people back to. I get people try to draw me into the political arguments and such. I'm just
no,
not going to do it. Do I have a political opinion? Of course I do. But
yeah,
there's people out there that are already saying things. They might say part of what I believe, whatever. I
yeah,
don't know, don't care.
I agree
My
with you.
point is let's talk about music and let's have some common ground there and
Amen.
let's be peaceful to each other.
Yeah,
Whether we agree or not, I don't care right now. Can we agree on the music?
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
what I'm all about.
enjoy it. Like my song
Yeah,
said, let life flow.
that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, this has been a lot of fun, man. And I look forward to talking to you closer to when your solo album comes out.
For
I hate
sure,
that
man.
Micah couldn't make it, but I think we covered everything very well. And if you guys do another single together, we'll set up a call and do it that then. But let's definitely you and I circle back around July or so
We
and
will do.
talk about that new album coming out.
Okay, good enough, man. And I'll bring the other two guests. I'll bring Lee Oscar in with me and
Okay.
Kiana. So all
All right.
three of us can get together and talk.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Okay.
I really want that. So that would be fantastic. And in the meantime, Kenny, if there's ever anything I can do to help promote your work or whatever, just let me know
Oh,
and I'll do what I can from my end. Okay.
you're doing it right now, man. Thank you so
All
much.
right, man. I'm going to make it down there and have some good food with you at
Come
your
on down.
place.
I have
All
some
right, I'll
stewed
let you know.
alligator. I have some stewed alligator for you.
That'll be a first for me.
All right.
All right, my
Okay,
friend.
brother.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.
You have been listening to another fun interview from Boomerocity with your host and producer, yours truly, Randy Patterson. The theme song at the beginning and end of each interview is Roll the Dice by our good friend Quentin Hope. And you can get that song at quentinhope.com. And Quentin is spelled Quinten. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins. Boomerocity's name, logo, and content is copyright protected, and that means all rights are reserved and you can only use any of the content upon written consent by Boomerocity and or assignees, and that means attorneys. Inquiries should be directed to input@boomerocity.com, and the copyright is 2025.